Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. This is Lady Blaze, and this is the End Game broadcast. And I just had to jump on here because as I was listening to everything that's going on, and I actually talked about this yesterday or day before yesterday. I think I did a live on YouTube. But as I was reading, I was brought back to three portions of Jesus's prophecy on Jesus' same prophecy recorded in Mark 24:15 through 22, Mark 13:14 through 23, and Luke 21:20 through 24. And I just got to read these because this is terrifying. And so I'm in Matthew 24. Now, this is concerning the Israeli-Hamas war and how Hamas came into the southern portion of Israel. And so it says, when I'm at Matthew 24, verse 15, I'm going to read down. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whoso readeth, let him understand. It says, then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe to them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray that your flight not be in the winter, neither be on the Sabbath. There's three things I want you all to remember there. He said, let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Okay, so now we're going to go over to Mark. And Mark, it says similar things. It says, but when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, and standing where it ought not, let him that reads understand, then let them that be in Judea flee into the mountains. And let them that is on the housetop not go down into the house, neither there enter therein to take anything out of his house. And let him that is in the field not turn back again to take up his garment. But woe to them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. And pray that your flight be not in the winter. Okay, so that's the second one. Now we're going to jump on over to Luke. And Luke 20 says, but when you see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation is thereof. Then let them which are in Judea, he's now talked about Judea three times, it's recorded three times. Then let them which are in Judea flee into the mountains, and let them that are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter therein too. For these be the days of vengeance, and that all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. Okay, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into the nations. And Jerusalem will be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Now, this is important because I'm a geography girl, and geography buff that I am. I had to map out Israel. I just want you to see something. This is a map of Israel. But let me show you where the siege took place. The siege took place right here in Judea. Jesus. This siege took place in Judea. This right here, this little area right here, this is Gaza. This is all of Judea. This is Jerusalem. We know right now the attacks are going on from the south, but then the attacks are also coming from the north, Hezbollah. So now we have exactly what Jesus Christ said in this same prophecy recorded by Matthew, Mark, and Luke. He said, those which be in Judea. You know, I've read this. I can't remember how many times I have read this, but I mapped this out 2 days ago when the war started, right in my last chapter of the book. And it kept saying, let those who be in Judea. It says, let them flee to the housetops. Now, I don't know how much y'all have been watching the news here, but let me tell you something. They told, the witnesses were saying, we've always been told when missiles come into the city to run into the field, to run away from the city, to run off the housetops. So I understood immediately that part sounded familiar. Then they talked about the captives. Jesus talked about the captives. What did he say? He said, they shall fall by the edge of the sword. We do know that some of the reports that have came in was what? That the Hamas fighters, they came in from Palestine. They came in by paragliding. They came in by sea. They came in by ground, underground tunnels, on-ground tunnels. And they began to kill people right there where they were. And then it says they will be led away captive until all nations. They have taken hostages. Right now, we know that there's about 100 hostages that have been taken. Now, this is significant because even though I don't believe this is the actual prophecy, I do know, Jesus, I do know that this is a shadow to the type. Now, a shadow is a foreshadowing. It's a prophetic utterance against what is going to happen, the fulfillment of it. Jesus was the Passover lamb, but the Passover lamb had been going forth for about 1,500 years until he fulfilled it when he was crucified. So now we have here this scene that he tells them, you're going to see Jerusalem compassed with armies. The desolation of the abomination of desolation will be nigh. But then he says repeatedly, let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains. And I just want you to realize that this is Judea and the mountains are all around here. This is exactly fulfilling what Jesus said in Luke 21. What is this? Luke 21 and 21. My God. The scripture is Luke 21 and 21. And he said, those who are in Judea, don't even go back to your house. This thing came up on Israel so fast. It is, they couldn't even respond for 3 hours. And people are trying to, we want you to wipe out Israel. We want you to wipe out Gaza, which I believe this is going to be it. But I want you to know what is very, very scary about this is that he mentions that they are going to come into the countries. Now, I'm not going to try to pull up Zechariah 14 and 12, and it talks about how the nations are going to begin to come in. I don't know if you all been really watching this, but to the north is Syria, and well, let me just say, Lebanon. Here's Syria, here's Israel. This whole little triangle piece right here, that's Israel. But right here is Lebanon and Hezbollah. Here's Syria, Jordan. Iran is on the other side of that, Iraq and Iran, and this is Egypt. So they got insurrectionists coming in from here into Judea. They're going north. They're also coming from the north into the northern regions. And then Jerusalem is right here. Yesterday, early this morning, there was actually rocket sirens going off in Jerusalem. Now, in Gaza right here, they already knocked down one of the most holy mosques there. There's a lot of reason to believe that this could be what is going to set up for the third temple. We were always wondering how the third temple was going to get there any other way but by war. And so for the third temple to get built in troublous times, as Daniel said, the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque is going to have to be taken down. Now, we know that this is something that Israel was not willing to touch, but now that they're actually in this time of war where they've been attacked, there is such a rage. I don't know if y'all feel it in the spirit, but I definitely hear it in the news reports. There is a rage of anger going on in Israel in general. The families are upset. The very place where some of these paragliders came in, they came into a rave where, you know, young people about age 18 to 24, they were partying, they were dancing well into Saturday morning. And they actually have the videos of the paragliders coming in, descending on this crowd of about 1,000 people, shooting at them, taking them captive, just like Jesus said. He said it 3 times, it's recorded. It says that they that be in Judea flee to the mountains. He's giving them instructions to flee to the mountains. But what terrified me and what made me jump on this live is the fact is that this happened in Judea. It happened in Judea. And that by the pinpoint accuracy. Now, the name of my book, and this is what's really further terrifying me, the name of my book is The Fifth Seal. This is directly related to the fifth seal opening up. I was writing the last chapter at 3:30 in the morning, Saturday morning, which was right about 2 to 3 hours after the fighting started. And it comes on CNN stating that Israel is under attack. You know, that's a very troublous area. And that's an area that they see a lot of infighting. And this is the area that Jesus said, pray that your flight don't be in the winter or on a Sabbath. Guess what? Not only was the flight have to be on a Sabbath, it was on one of the most holiest Sabbath days of the year. It was the last Sabbath day that closed out the fall festivals. It was the last day of the Feast of Tabernacles. It was right before Simchat Torah, and it was about a week or so after the Day of Atonement, the most holy day of the year for the people of Israel. I just wanted to get on here to let y'all know that prophecy is coming true. And I understand that we have a lot of things going on. We have a lot of events going on, and we have a lot of personal projects that we need to be doing. But right now, the church needs to turn their face to what's going on in this earth, because Israel is and has always been God's timepiece. And the devastating accuracy in which this event since Saturday has actually fulfilled these portions of prophecy. Now, I say that it's a foreshadower, it's a forerunner of what is actually the fifth seal, because the fifth seal is all about, got about a book about killing the saints, and killing the chosen people of God, and that is part of Israel. And for it to go down the exact same way that Jesus put in Matthew 24:15-22, Luke 13:14-23, and Luke 21. I said Luke 13. It's Mark 13:14-23, and Luke 21-20 and 24. Y'all better wake up. Y'all, this is not the world as usual. This whole God thing is coming true in our face, and it's like no one is teaching about it, and it's of course because no one really has given themselves over to any other scriptures than that which is about, God will give you the desires of your heart and all these inspirational things. That's fine, but we on a timeline here. And when people are trying to understand what's going on in the world, and your pastors and your elders and your preachers and your missionaries, they can't even discern what's going on in this Bible. I don't know what's going on in Israel. That's a shame, and that is a indictment against the church. What are we teaching? Why don't people understand what's going on over in Israel? Why does it have to take people to be called crazy because they've actually studied the scripture? But this is what Jesus said was going to happen in the last days. I fully believe we are past the point of the beginning of sorrows, because what's the first seal? Deception. Second seal is war and hatred. Third seal is inflation and famine and all this stuff going on with the food sources. And the fourth seal, I promise you, what we're seeing over in Israel is either the opening of the fourth seal or the opening of the fifth seal. And the fourth seal is when all hell breaks loose, when there is going to be death from a whole bunch of things on an unprecedented level, right? And then the fifth seal is all about the killing of God's chosen people. That's not just Israel. That's also Christians. And so I just wanted to jump on here. Y'all can go back and y'all can look, but I'm going to read these scriptures one more time before I leave up off of here, just to let y'all know what I'm talking about. He said, and those, when you see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Let them which are in Judea. This attack just happened in Judea. Let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out. And you are hearing right now, you're hearing all the testimonies and the eyewitness accounts that they have fled Judea. And let not them that are in the countries enter thereon. So the individuals who are in the surrounding countries, they have blocked off access from Gaza. It says, and And then from the north, you got Hezbollah. And I brought out the map. I'm going to bring it out again. From the north, you got Hezbollah, the north. This is the northern border, and here's Hezbollah. You got rocket fire coming into Jerusalem. Into Israel. This is Jerusalem in the middle. This is the West Bank. This is Gaza right here, and this is Judea, where everything hit. He said, they shall be led away captive into all nations. Now, this particular group are only being led back into Gaza. So I know this is not that in fullness, but it is this in measure. And we're not watching close enough. We're too much dealing with the vanity of the world and trying to make it seem like ain't nothing changed. But let me tell you something. God has changed. God has turned a corner here. Let me read the next one. Ooh, I'm sorry. This thing has got me. This is a little terrifying to me. I don't know about y'all, but it's so scary to me. It says, so now I'm in Mark. This is the second account. But when you shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet standing where they ought, let him that read, then let them which be in Judea. He says it again. Jesus has repeatedly given warning to Judea specifically, not just Israel, but specifically to Judea, that they should flee into the mountain. And if you're on your housetop, which a lot of them do, they got a lot of porches and stuff. And because it was Sukkot and because it's the Feast of the Tabernacles, it was the last day of the Feast of Tabernacles Saturday. They were on their housetops. That's where they were having lunch and breakfast and things like that. It says, let them not go down into the house or enter in to take anything out of the house, and let him that is in the field turn not back again to take up his garment. Woe to them that are with child in those days, and pray that your flight be not in the winter. Okay, we're going to go back one more to Matthew 24. And Matthew 24, starting at verse 15, says the same thing. When ye therefore see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place, which is Jerusalem. Let him understand. Then let them which be in where? Judea. He says it three times. In the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word is established. Flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him that is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath. They ain't been praying. We know, unfortunately, Israel has rejected Jesus as their Messiah, and there will be a day that they actually will receive him as their Messiah. But here, the Messiah, regardless of what they said, has just said 4 things. It says, those who are in Judea, flee to the mountains. It says, pray that your flight be not in winter or on the Sabbath. And then in the book of Mark, even Luke, even though it's not here in Matthew, it says they will be led away captive. All these things have came to pass this past weekend with devastating pinpoint accuracy from Jesus. This scripture was written at least 1,900 and some odd years ago. When Jesus, this is one of his last prophecies he's made before his crucifixion in 33 AD. And we're in 2023 AD. Okay. So I want y'all to know that now is the time to be praying. If you ain't never fasted before, you need to start fasting. If you ain't did none of this and learned anything, you need to get in your word. And I'm going to tell you right now, start in Matthew 24. That's a good place to start. I want y'all to continue to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Like I said, this is very well the staging of the third temple being put in place. Because if the war hits Jerusalem and the Temple Mount ends up getting scraped, that's how we're going to be able to get the temple there. That's how the third temple is going to be built, because they're not going to build the third temple any other place but where it's supposed to be, at the foundation of the Temple Mount, where the original first 2 were built. And so what we're watching right now, definitely a seal has opened up. It's either the 4th seal is opened up or the 5th seal is opened up. This specific account is the 5th seal. So it could be a harbinger to the fifth seal, which would make complete sense, but it could also be the fourth seal because the first seal events are still going, the second seal events are still going, the third seal, all of those I know are open. But the fourth seal and the fifth seal, those are still, I'm still waiting for certain things. But what happened Saturday? Everybody knows something happened. They just don't know what. Y'all continue to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. You pray that he gives him, that Jerusalem and Israel is given the, the wisdom to carry out what they need to carry out, because they had the right to defend themselves. Israel totally had the right to defend themselves, and they're using wisdom because Israeli lives matter, even though Hamas lives matter. And don't forget that the area that they're fighting, it's Palestine, which was also the Philistines' territory. So this is something that is biblical in proportion. And let me add this in here. When you begin to identify and investigate the reason why Hamas did what they did, the first thing that came out, now it's not the only thing, but the first thing that actually came out was that they are upset with the way that they're being treated concerning the Temple Mount. That is a holy religious war. And it's no coincidence that about 3 weeks ago that $6 billion from the United States was released to Iran. And Iran today came out applauding Hamas for the good job that they did and the work that they did in taking down and surprising Israel. And so we definitely have a prophetic setup. Like I said, I was writing the last chapter. I was writing the chapter on the seventh seal on the book. It should be out by, it should hit Amazon by Wednesday or Thursday. But I'm telling y'all, this is real. And I'm on here tripping because I can't believe that I missed Judea. And when I mapped out Judea, it's the exact location that was struck and the exact location that Jesus said that would need to watch for this type of attack, but they weren't watching. Y'all, we need to watch and pray. Y'all be blessed.